Greetings, everybody. This is Michael Rochelle with Aidmatrix Foundation. I hope that you're all doing well today. Appreciate you, those of you who are coming in person, for coming in. For those of you who are on the phone, and some of you are driving, I think, as we're speaking to you. And then for those of you who are at your home and sharing video, thank you for that as well. The cool thing about it is that if you speak or if you make noise during the presentation, it'll actually record your video. So everybody will know what you're doing. That's just a warning. So if you want to turn your video off, feel free to do that, and then we'll get started. So I'm really excited about the topic that we have to share today. We're talking here about the LISD pilot of the Aidmatrix Skills to Succeed program. We are wholly and only sponsored by Accenture from a funding perspective. So thank you, Deanna Noggles, for coming and joining us today. We're also sponsored by Aidmatrix, who is a nonprofit organization that provides relief systems to the world. So there are over 30,000 organizations, for instance, that use their food bank system. The food bank system started with CCA, that's just down the street here in Louisville, and 5 other food banks about 12 years ago. So if Governor McCallum actually comes on, I'll give him a minute in just a moment to share with you a little bit of the history about Aidmatrix. If he is not able to join via audio, then I will share that with you as well. So we have quite a bit to talk about today. I know many of you I have not personally talked to, so thanks for signing up. Okay, no worries. Thank you very much, Scott. So that was Governor Scott McCallum. He's the Chief Information Officer, Chief Executive Officer for Aidmatrix, and he's the former governor of Wisconsin. So he's our Chief Executive Officer. And I'm guessing that he's joining us from Wisconsin today. Would that be a good guess, Scott? Very good. Well, thanks for coming and joining us today. So some of you don't know much about the program at all, and some of you don't know much about what we're about with the program as well. So I thought I would start out with a little bit of an introduction. I am the program director for Aidmatrix for this program. My wife and children who are actually in Puerto Rico on vacation with my in-laws. My in-laws are from Puerto Rico, as is my wife, Arlene Gonzalez Rochelle. She's the love of my life and have been married to her for 21 years. We have 3 children, Michael, who is 13, August 1st. We have a teenager. Paul, who's 9, and Erica, who is 6. So we're a pretty busy family, usually on a Saturday afternoon, so it's kind of interesting that it's so quiet here in the house. I'm from Texas originally. I'm a 3rd-generation Texan, by way of Tennessee, by way of New York, by way of France. So the cool thing about this country is we're all immigrants at some level. We came here under somebody else's power, and the cool thing is we get to share that power with others as they are growing in their experience as well. My mother is German, so I have an immigrant, a recent immigrant experience as well. When I was born, my mother was learning English. My father was a GI in Germany in the early 60s, and met her, married her, brought her home, and so anyway, she was learning English while I was growing up. I went to Ambassador University for my undergraduate degree. I have an undergraduate in liberal arts with a theology major. So the study of God is kind of one of the passions of my life. And I went to Azusa Pacific, which is a Wesleyan Christian university in Azusa, California, and did a master's in business administration. I've worked for a couple of large companies like Microsoft, the largest software company in the world, had a $500 million quota for virtualization through our Dell partner. So lots of software interaction. And I worked for a division of Accenture called Avanade, which implements large Microsoft integrations. So my background from the time that I left undergraduate has been something to do with technology implementations. On the right side, you see that there's a 22. That's 22 years of focus on large groups and how to keep groups moving, right? So the top is the digital ball. I've been associated with Aidmatrix for the last 2 years. I was a sponsor last year and this year for the digital ball through the Society for Information Management's Regional Leadership Forum. The RLF is a leadership forum for IT executives. I've done that for 15 years. When I was a director of IT in Los Angeles, my boss required that I take the class in order to become a vice president. I took the class, and about 3 months into it, they asked me to help teach it the next year. So it's really one of my passions, and the thing that I get the most energy from is sharing good stuff with people and helping them to grow in their careers. That's the next picture down. The second picture is an RLF class from last year. And then down at the bottom, I've been a scout since I was a kid. I'm now, for the 7th year, a Cub Master for my Cub Scout pack, and I'm the chaplain for my Boy Scout troop. That is a picture from Camp Wahanape, where we went for the second time this summer with about 22 boys. So that's kind of who I am. I include the strengths that I have on the slide. I won't go into those, but all participants in the program, in the first couple of days, will actually take a strengths assessment, and we will know what their strengths are. And the reason that we do that is because the way that I look at things, if you don't know what you're really good at, then you can't be the impact that God would like you to be on the world. Right? So that's my personal opinion, and I think that is seen in the world as well. So we start out with what are you good at, and then as we go into resume building and things like that later, you can put those strengths into the resume and then take the situations where you've used those strengths in the business environment, and it becomes a powerful way to explain your story to an interviewer, right? So that you're interviewing with, because then you're saying these are the things. Gallup is the organization that does the study. They've had over 7 million people take the test. That allows you to know what of 34 strengths, what are your top 5. They say that there are not that many people that actually every day when they're at work, they get to do something that they're powerful at, something that gets them excited. Matter of fact, only 29% of people, when they're polled and are asked that question, do you get to do something that you're good at every day at work? Only 29% of them say yes. So if we can help people align their strength with what they're doing, regardless of what the doing is, right? They can be the best at what they are doing because they're self-motivated to become better, because they're innately wired to be good at a certain couple of things, right? So that's why I share that. So why would Aidmatrix, which is focused on humanitarian relief, be interested in sharing education? Well, if you think about it, it's really the other hand of the same problem. If there is a disaster, people are in need of aid in a short time frame that is very urgent, right? If people are in poverty, they need food to help sustain themselves over some period of time. But if you don't give them the third component, which is education, they can't get themselves out of the poverty that enables them to take control of their own existence. So the natural progression of what we've been doing for 12 years is that. The problem is this. According to the National Science Foundation, in the 21st century, scientific and technological innovations have become increasingly important as we face the benefits and challenges of both globalization and knowledge-based economy. To succeed in the new information-based and highly technological society, students need to develop their capabilities in STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, and math, to levels much beyond what was considered acceptable in the past. So even if you're not trying to go into the tech industry, or if you're not trying to go into engineering or mathematics or science, those things are becoming so much a part of what we're doing that we're growing a divide. We have first the literacy divide, right? 22 states right now are setting their their prison estimations as far as how many cells they're going to need based on the third grade education levels of this is in the United States. 22 states are setting their projections, and they're growing. They're growing because by the third grade, they know if you're not at par on English skills, then you're going to start falling behind, right? And there are those that believe that because of the measurements that we've put into place, and I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong, I'm just saying what others have said, that we're actually pushing people out of the education system earlier and earlier in their educational experience because we're incenting schools with funding based on achievement of a certain level. If they don't get it, then the school district is disincented to educate those children. So it's an insidious problem, right? The next Bureau of Labor Statistics, we'll talk about that. There are 1.2 million job openings for computer science graduates by 2018 that are not going to be provided by our current output of schools, both at the high school and in the college level. So what does that look like? So did the quick math at the top. In 2018, there will be 1.2 million jobs. If we can only fill 400,000 of them, which is a third, right, of those jobs, we have 800,000 jobs that we can't fill with U.S.-born children that are coming through our educational system, right? So there's a gap in what's being taught from the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and what is needed in the workplace. And that's kind of the gap that we're starting to understand how to fill, right? So Accenture actually spent several $1 million creating the future focus curricula that we'll be using in the mornings for the entire 2 weeks. I'll get into that a little bit later. But they did it specifically to help fill the gap between what's happening in the schools and what's needed in the workplace. So that's kind of what we're thinking about. So a little more about Aidmatrix and filling in the gaps on the technology side, because I've told you we help with aid, but we help with aid through technology. So we're a software as a service provider. So Accenture is one of our great partners, Microsoft, UPS, Dell, Oracle, Cisco, AT&T. They're sponsoring Aidmatrix to assist in the creation of systems that enable more aid and more things to get out to the world. So we leverage these innovation solutions from industry, the experience that I have and some of the experiences that you have, to actually bring that to the nonprofit sector and assist them with doing more with less, right? Right now we have over 50,000 leading businesses, nonprofit, and governmental partners that leverage those solutions, enabling $1.5 billion worth of aid to be moved globally to places that need it. I don't have the quote here, but Michael McGrath, who's the chairman of the board for Aidmatrix, says that there is not a food production problem in the world. There's a problem with supply chain. That's what Aidmatrix does. We do supply chain systems, right? It's moving the food to where it needs to be before it spoils. That is the problem. And we are uniquely enabled to do that through the technologies that we build. Does that make sense? Are there any questions on the phone? I have eye contact with everybody here in the room, but I can't see you guys. Greetings, Mark. Thanks for coming today. So that said, that's kind of laying the foundation of who Aidmatrix is, what the problem is, and now let's show the big picture. The big picture is that we want to empower first 60, that's this year, with our pilot here at LISD, and then 10,000 in the next couple of years, and then ultimately 500,000. Now that goal is actually borrowed from our sponsor, right? So we're basically aligning ourselves with their goal to enable 500,000 youth to identify how they can contribute to the world in a meaningful way and have a vision for possibility that they don't currently have today. And when I say youth, right, I still consider myself young, at heart anyway, right? So really, the cool thing about the curricula that we're going to talk about is that it's really applicable to anybody at any age. If they are in a situation where they're looking to restart, that would be another place. Some of you have education from other countries that you're having a difficulty in getting, and this is through a third party, so I think I have this right, you're having trouble getting traction here based on that educational experience. So what we think we can do for you is that we can help kind of connect what you learned to the needs of the businesses that we see today. Right, and at the end of the program, then we have some exciting opportunities to become an intern that could give you some experiences as well. And I'll keep on with that. So does this make sense? We want to transform lives and communities through technology sector education and employment globally. So it's a powerful vision that we're, obviously sharing with Accenture, but it's one that we are determined to assist in overcoming. So as soon as I joined Aidmatrix on a project basis in May, about May 15th. So we're right at 2 months since we started to delivering the program on Monday. It's been a really incredible ride. Because I have 3 children in the LISD school district, I've already been giving into the district through the Society for Information Management's Regional Leadership Forum. I have a class every year, and it goes for about 9 months. So about 5 years ago, we went to the district and we said, hey, we'd like to help with STEM. Microsoft just came out with this cool technology called Worldwide Telescope, and it is powerful from a graphics perspective, so kids really respond to it. And we think that it would be applicable to create curricula that would enable them to see what the phases of the moon look like, to understand the planets in their rotation live in real time. So we have assisted them with curricula, and we've now entered into a 4-year support agreement. And just 2 weeks ago, we actually trained the science teachers for the Louisville Independent School District on that tool. So that introduced us into the district. I don't think Carol Kyer is here. She's the she's the president of the Board of Trustees, which are the parents and those in the community that assist in directing the Louisville Independent School District. She's been there for about 7 years. I called her and said, hey, we have this awesome opportunity to land this program, but we're way behind from a scheduling perspective. What can you do? So within a week and a half, we were at the administrator's office, and we offered them 2 different programs, and they accepted it immediately. So Louisville Independent School District is providing us free of charge the use of actually 3 rooms in a brand new campus at Louisville High School, and have basically opened the doors for us, and we've been really excited about that. So we are providing the 2 modules. We're actually doing 3 certifications now. The Strength Finders will start out. We'll do Life Leadership Focus, and that's one of the certifications that you'll get, as long as that you go through all or both 2 weeks of the program. Microsoft Office will be in the first week, software testing in the second week in the afternoons. There are certifications for both of those as well. The Microsoft certification is a globally accepted Microsoft Office specialist. We're using Word because it is the most utilized of the solutions for Microsoft, and we thought that it would be more applicable to to different kinds of career paths as well. And then we'll have internships for top students, and what that means is that you get all 3 certifications, that you're attentive, that you're in class, and that you're actually paying attention, right? The neat thing about it, Mark Schneider, Melinda, and a couple of the others from the companies that are potentially going to provide internships will be there to work with you as well, so they'll get to know you a little bit. And that'll help them kind of gauge who it is that they think would fit into their environment as well. In addition to those from Interstate Batteries and People Answers that I just talked about, we have numerous internships with Aidmatrix based on the 200-plus websites that we manage on behalf of other nonprofits. So we have quite a bit of work, and that's what the software testing is actually going to be focused on, software testing of development of websites, because it's one of the services that we provide on a regular basis. So the curricula, lunch, and program costs are covered by Aidmatrix through the grant from Accenture. Like I said, the location provided by LISD. Now we're talking the interesting thing, the superintendent, when we finally got through what the program was and what we could do for him, he said, well, I have 300 schools. I need this in every school. I'm like, well, we can't do that in a pilot, but we can definitely think creatively about how we can land it. So one of the things that I want to out immediately is that anybody goes through the program and receives this education, this is anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 worth of value if you get all 3 certifications. So it's a phenomenal offering, right? The Microsoft Office would be somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. We did some research here in the Dallas market. If you go and just say, hey, I want to take this class and I want to get this certification. The same thing for software testing, and then the life leadership focus coming from the future focus curricula augmented by the SIM-RLF curricula is powerful. The SIM-RLF class is a 9-month program. It costs about $8,300. I don't know how to value the other stuff, but from my perspective, if you focus on those morning sessions alone, it can make a huge difference in the way that you're presenting yourself in the market. It'll make a huge difference in the way that you're perceiving what the needs are. So there's a tremendous amount of value here is what I'm getting at. If you receive that, we want you to think about coming back as a mentor, right, later on. And you'll see the mentors interacting with you as you go through the program. So that's the kind of thing we're thinking about. Does that make sense? All right, so we've already talked about all those things. I'm going to go ahead and pass on that slide. Now, if you're not a student, and there are multiple of you, Morgan, for instance, Elise, Mark, Melinda, that are going to be either speakers or mentors, there's something in this for everybody. So we actually took a little bit of time to talk about that. And I'll pause for a second to tell you what the vision of Aidmatrix is. So I've told you what the problem is. I've told you what we're really good at. And then I've said what we're doing in this program, and that's what we're going to land here in LISD next week. Our larger vision is to create a platform for other nonprofits to take the curricula that we gain from multiple sources and enable that in their neighborhoods. So while we're landing this here in Louisville Independent School District, there are lots of other school districts that you guys are probably engaged with, right? Which county or which school system? Oh, you're here? Okay. And Morgan, you are in the, okay. So Highland Park ISD. So there are other places that it is applicable. Matter of fact, you'll see when you get there on Monday, we have multiple people from the Chin Refugee Ministry that are coming to the program on Monday. We have multiple people from CCA, Christian Community Action, from DISD, from other places. We have the CEO and founder of Services of Hope. His son is going to be in the program, but they're also bringing multiple people from impacted schools in the DISD school district that they serve as well. So you can be what I'm calling a host. I don't have that on this slide, but the bottom line is that we're looking for ways to scale this curricula and enable more and more people to be impacted. So that's kind of what we're thinking and what we're thinking about. In the short time that we've been up and running here in the Louisville Independent Schools District, we have multiple hosts and sponsors. I'll take the time now to tell you what they're doing and how they're sponsoring. So LISD obviously is our host, and what that means is they're hosting the program on their premises. So they're providing a place to have it. Accenture is our sole monetary provider. Aidmatrix is the provider of programming, of curricula enhancement, of marketing, of basically enablement, and you'll see all of the people that are associated with Aidmatrix that are making this happen later on. iShare, and I don't know if Rishi is on the phone today, Rishi Khanna, they actually have created the software testing curricula specifically for this class. And it is like the curricula that we received from Accenture. will be enabled to be utilized multiple times in other geographies as well. Not only in the United States, but globally. We have a sister program, for instance, that's already happening in Eastern Europe. The Society for Information Management, that's the organization that I've been serving through for 15 years. Their offering is just curricula enhancement, right? And that's basically through my experience. Flat World Design is providing some marketing support for us, some printing, and things like that. We have several food providers, Village Grill here in Highland Village and Swirl Bakery and Flower Mound, that are providing a meal to us. Who's Dat Barbecue, Fuzzy's Tacos, sorry I'm having trouble seeing these, they're little bitty, Chipotle and CC's, and we have different providers. They're all providing us with discounts based on our nonprofit status, but then like I said, 2 of them are actually providing the meals. So really excited about that. And then internship providers, I've already talked about that, Aidmatrix, Interstate, and People Answers. So thanks very much for our sponsors, and Deanna, especially to you for all your help with the curricula and sharing your experience with getting your Dallas program going. It really helped us ramp up. So now I'd like to deep dive a little bit into the Skills to Succeed curricula. So in the mornings on week 1, the first morning we're going to talk about career management. I'm actually going to do that myself. The second morning we'll talk about strengths assessment. Elise Cortez, Dr. Elise Cortez, who's on the phone with us from Dallas, is actually going to be sharing her deep experience in that. Technology literacy, that's actually technology and media literacy. It just didn't fit on the screen. Keith Thode, who's our Chief Operating Officer for Aidmatrix, is providing that. Interview skills will either be Charlotte or Mark Snyder, and I'm not sure exactly whom will be doing that, and the other person will be doing teamwork. That's in week 1. And then the afternoon, we have Tracy Inman, who is a teacher here in LISD, who has a master's in information systems, will actually be doing the Microsoft Office Specialist certification training. And then on the last day, you'll have 90 minutes to actually complete the test and obtain the certification. Week 2, in the mornings, first day we'll do professional and work ethic skills. Second day, we'll do resume writing. And we're going to start really on Career Management Day, the first day, on reviewing some resumes. So in the books that we have at the desks in the office, already ready for everybody to go on Monday morning, you have all 3 of our interns, who are 2 of them who are LISD grads, both of whom are college students right now. We have their resumes, which for the younger students is closer to them. And then we have a resume for Lauren, who will be a senior at Texas A&M this year. We have those as starting points. And then if you have a resume and you're a student, bring your resume, and then we'll augment it. So anyway, the resume writing then will already have seen and had some time to look at resumes for multiple days before that. You'll be able to add your 5 strengths because you'll already know them from the week before when you get to the resume writing section. And then we'll assume that everybody's going to get the certificates. We're going to add that to their resumes as well, right? And we'll also do a LinkedIn site. So LinkedIn is the social media site for resume building, networking, job finding, those kinds of things. We actually started that on Monday morning last week at DISD, and it was very powerful. A lot of excitement. I think I got 15 requests to be friends with those kids, and look forward to that too. So that's resume. We'll do critical thinking, and that's just something that isn't necessarily taught in schools today. Financial literacy, how not to get in debt and how to take care of yourself as you're going through a college experience and those kinds of things. And then finally, we'll bring it all together, and the Life Leadership Action Plan is really just documentation of all the things that they've learned through that you've learned through the 2 weeks, so that the last day, in order to get the certification, you have to show that package, which includes the resume and all the other things that I talked about. Does that make sense? Then we'll do the browser software testing training and certification in the afternoons. And that'll be the 2 weeks. So that's how in 2 weeks you obtain 3 important certifications. Any questions there?
Looks very good, Mike.
Thanks. Is that Zane?
Yes.
Ah, I figured. All right, so now this is the other part. I get to really share who has been behind the scenes helping us get this thing going, right? And I'm going to maximize my screen so I can actually read it. Here we go. So as I said before, Accenture is providing the mezzanine funding, Aidmatrix programming, marketing, the quality of delivery, RLF curricula elements and ethos and focus on enhancements on that curricula, ESHAR, the software testing. From a technical architecture perspective, and this is really looking forward to how we actually create an online experience that a new program director at a new place would actually come on and find out how to build their program. So what we're doing, and if you think about this, it's not just a share where we have a bunch of documents, but it's actually processes and procedures and best practices about who to go to in your community, how to find people of interest that would be either hosts or sponsors or both or whatever, right? So it's more than that. So Leon Kappelman is a professor at UNT, good friend of mine, has agreed to be a part of this. He has led the EA, which is Enterprise Architecture Working Group for the Society for Information Management for about the last 7 years. Edited a book on enterprise architecture, has done enterprise architecture consulting for the White House back in the Bush era. So a very powerful guy and a good friend of mine that's helping us. Michael Ross is the former CIO of Aidmatrix, probably knows the systems better than anybody else. He's agreed to be a part of the group so that we can tie into the experience that Aidmatrix already has, and then help us to vision where we could go and basically reuse components of other systems that we've already got, so that we don't have to redo things. James Maynard, my old boss and friend at Avanade, who's a VP now, has agreed to be on that. Paul Kimball, another friend and boss from Microsoft in those days, he actually runs the Microsoft Technology Center. So for all the customers in the South Central region, when they are they're trying to figure out how to utilize Microsoft technologies in their environment, they come to his centers, and he and his team help them envision what is possible, not only with the technology that we have today with Windows 8, but what's coming within Windows 8.1 and what's coming with Microsoft Dynamics and what's coming with Lync, which is the technology we're using for sharing this presentation, and all those kinds of things. We have folks from Tech Mahindra that have agreed to be on that board. We're talking with IBM through another partner of mine, a friend who actually is the Senior Vice President of Development at DirecTV. He and his team from IBM will be joining our architecture group. Just don't have them documented here. We have who are providing the internships. I already talked about that earlier. And then I bolded Carol again because she really has helped not only land us with the district, but also in the next page you'll see all of the community organizations. So it's been very powerful there. Dr. Stephen Waddell and the superintendent, our sponsor, Penny Riddell, who does all the teaching and learning curricula for 50,000 students at LISD. She's a fan of the program and helped us. And then Kevin Rogers really did the heavy lifting and finding a place for us and taking care of us. We appreciate that. Will Skelton is the assistant principal that's helped us get our lab set up. I already talked about Deanna a couple of times because she keeps popping up in multiple places. She's helped us out so much, so thank you, Deanna, for assistance with the program and curricula. Keith Thode actually envisioned what this could be. Keith Arnett has been a great friend and helper in my acculturation into Aidmatrix and how we can use the best of what we have there. Rishi Khanna, I have him here, and Dr. Riddell, both for program and curricula. I said something earlier that I just kind of glossed over, and I said that we were going to use the ethos or curricular elements from RLF. And what I want to do is I want to share with you my personal view on leadership, right? So I believe that a leader has to be a servant in order to lead an organization effectively. Now, you can, in short periods of time, lead from an authoritarian perspective. In times of great stress, you can, you even see this in the world stage when a country has lots of turmoil. Often a strong leader will rise, and they will rule with a rod of iron. But over time, the people will rebel. We're seeing this in several countries right now, in the Middle East, where the people will rebel and say, no, we don't want that kind of leadership. We want something that's more democratic, where we have more voices in what we're doing. And those servant leaders that actually can help guide multiple entrenched interests to come up with a win-win situation are the ones that, from my perspective, are more powerful. So that's kind of what I mean by servant leader. They're the ones that are looking to, how can I help this organization? How can I help each individual on my team get the best out of life, therefore get the best out of their experience with our company, and provide the best support and to either our shareholders or our stakeholders, depending on if you're a nonprofit or a profit. Driven by virtues and values, and I make a distinction between virtue and value because a virtue is something that is held as a norm by a large group of people. It wasn't until the 1800s when Nietzsche really started talking about values as replacing virtues that we got into the situation that we're in the world today, where everybody's value is the same, has the same weight, right? I value what I believe because I say it, right? Well, a virtue is something that goes well beyond that. It's established by a group of people that say killing is not a good thing to do, right? I don't care if you say that you believe that killing is okay because of a particular belief that you have or whatever, right? There are norms that we have to live with. And if we as an organization or as a group of individuals that are creating a movement to help other people grow, and that's the way I look at what we're doing here, then if we can set some normative behavior that goes beyond what I as an individual might think is good for me, right? It thinks about others before oneself, for instance. That's the thing. If you have that kind of an ethos, then you can create a joint vision that will take an organization to the next level, right? Powerfully so. It'll take a country, a nation, people to the next level. That is strengths-based, right? And like I said earlier, if you're actually, I cannot motivate you, right? I can't motivate you or anybody on the phone. I can't motivate you, but I can help you align your innate motivation with what the task at hand is. So if I know what your strength is, then I can say how I can impact that. And if we have an open environment where we're sharing each other's strengths and we're celebrating those strengths as a way of life, then we can get a better experience for everybody. That we are loyal to one another, that even if we don't agree on a topic, because we both have mutual respect, because we're both serving each other, because we share some level of value or virtue, because we have a joint vision and we know each other's strengths, even if we disagree, we at least disagree respectfully, and then we can move all along together rather than fighting, right? And we see this yesterday in the news, right? People on both sides of a topic that are so angry that they can't hear what the other group is saying. If we know, we can get past that. So we then enroll people. We enroll them in the vision, the joint vision, and we enable them to actually provide their best into that vision. We are constantly innovating, so we don't sit on our laurels. We don't think about what we used to do that was successful, because the world is constantly changing. We have to change with or in front of the times. And that's the great challenge of leadership. It's how do we look out into the future far enough that we can take our organization where it needs to go. And what I'm talking about, real communication, real communication enables people to disagree, but then put in, and this is coming from Crucial Conversations if you read the book, there's one person that has this position, there's another person that has this position, but if they can focus on the facts and put that into the pool of meaning, right, that the shared pool of meaning, then they can have real communication. So that we can agree on a next action without having to agree on all of the subcategories of whatever that issue might be. That excellence is expected, that we're always going to do our best and we're going to continually raise the bar for doing our best, that we're going to have 100% ownership of the solution, and that we're going to have a customer or partner results focus. In the nonprofit sector, we often have to partner in order to do things together, right? So you can't have a position and hold that position at all costs. You have to be able to understand what's in it for the other organization and kind of coexist. That's the same thing in life, right? We learned that when we were in kindergarten. If you have a toy that I want, I can't take it from you, right? I might negotiate. I might say, hey, can we play with that together, right? But that's kind of the life leadership ethos that I would like to enable. And even though we have set curricula, there will be experiences that we'll have in the classroom through other experiences that I'll bring in where we're evolving everybody's understanding of these principles. Does that make sense? All right, so we continue with the community partners. So just so you know, because not everybody will be in every class, but we have partners from DISD, Daniel Endorse Prescott, the CEO of Services of Hope, and his wife. Keith Thoden and Daniel are friends, and that's how we got connected with them. Becky Nelson, the director of the Chin Ministries, came from Carol Kyer. Ron Batts, the CEO of Christian Community Action, came through Carol as well. Dana Smith, the CEO of Communities and Schools, through Carol. Jody Smith of Cornerstone Staffing. This is where we get into how we connect the people that are in the program with the working community, right? Staffing organizations know what the pulse is. They know where things are happening, and they can, just like individual corporations, help us to create curricula that will help them to build the people that are needed by the community at the time that the community needs it. So I'm very excited about that. She'll probably come into play in our next experience. Wes Johnson, our partner at Career Transition Workshops, and Barbie Barta at Harbinger Partners have really been tireless people to help get the word out, along with Ulrika Schultz from SMU. That's how Morgan and we got connected as well. We have folks as far away as Denmark. James Varnum, who's an English gentleman who lives in Denmark, has actually been providing us with consulting on how to get the certifications lined up. We Aidmatrix are now a certification place for Microsoft products. Rishi Khanna for Ishar. We have 3 awesome interns, Brittany Kyer, Taylor Mitchell, and Lauren Turnham. And then we have a lot of instructors, teachers, and mentors that are going to be sharing with you guys in the next couple of weeks. So Tracy Inman, I talked about her. Bob Lennard from Radio Shack. Mark Schneider from People Answers. Zain Ali from Sunbonnet Partners. Keith Thode from Aidmatrix. Keith Arnett from Aidmatrix. Charlotte Medley from Aidmatrix. John Barnes. And John, if you're on the phone, I don't know which organization you're connected with, so we'll have to get your bio for that. Jason Benoit, who I know through SimRLF, and then Morgan May through SMU. Thanks for coming out. Melinda Zeppa from Interstate Batteries, and Raj Menon from Flat World Design. There are others that will be coming as well. We have other students that are still being signed up as we speak. So exciting momentum here at the end. This is the classroom. I didn't add the students for this because I'm recording it. I don't have releases for everybody yet. So as soon as we get those releases, we'll add the names. But this is where oops. So you guys are not seeing what I've been talking to. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna go through these slow so you can see that I have been speaking to actual content. There are all the people that I just talked about. Okay, and I have the class hidden. The neat thing about using Facebook as our landing page is that we get statistics. We've only had our landing page up for 2 weeks, but we have enough data now that we can look at it. We're really hitting the female audience hard, and we're beating the averages for Facebook because of that. So the way to read this is the gray bar underneath the blue bar, and the women 18 to 24. We have about 19% of our fans that are women in that age category, which is in our target demographic for the class. The average for Facebook is somewhere in the, looks like 16%. And then when we get to 35 to 44, we're way ahead of Facebook. 45 to 54, these are the moms that are on the call. These are the moms that have been helping to get the word out and get students from all of those faith-based organizations that we talked about. So it's pretty neat to see that. And even in the 55 to 64 category, I think that's probably my mom, Keith Thode's mom, and Britt Kyer's mom. And I'm not saying that Britt's mom is that age necessarily, but anyway, that's mostly that category. And there are community leaders that are giving in their communities that are helping getting the word out. So it's been really neat to see. The other neat thing is that men from 35 to 54, we're really beating the statistics on Facebook for that. And I think probably based on the fact that most of our speakers and mentors are men, that probably has something to do with that. The challenging thing, and I've actually noticed this in my scouting experience over the last decade or so, there are fewer boys that are interested in either sharing or obtaining this kind of experience. In the scouting program, I've noticed, there's a steep decline in boys that are in scouting. And it's not just the social pressures. It's mostly because of sports and other activities that have grown to replace some of those experiences. But, when we were looking for interns this summer, for instance, 3 very, very powerful young ladies that I met through the interactions that we had in the community, and I didn't really have anybody present possible male interns. So it's just an observation. I'm not saying anything, and I'm glad that there are some guys in the program. So kudos to you for joining us for that. Are there any? Does this strike you? Anybody? These statistics? I've looked at them for a couple of days, so it'll be an interesting conversation to see how it ends up as well. And I have not correlated this with our actual participant pool, so that'll be an interesting look as well. So when you walk into Louisville High School on Monday morning, if you can get there around 8:30, 8:45, so you can get in and get set up and logged on and all that kind of stuff. When you walk into the front door, you'll see this lovely little girl's picture. There's a sign that takes you down the hallway. We're at 1098 West Main Street in Louisville. We'll be there from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. From July 22nd to August 2nd. You can just park in the main parking lot. As we go through the course, we may switch to another parking lot that's easier to gain access to. Once they know who we are, you still have to go to the front desk and check in, but it may be easier to park on the side. But just for the first couple of days, park in the main parking lot. It's a brand new school. The parking lot has a little bit of a labyrinth to get in there, so just follow the signs when you get in. You have to take a right into the parking lot, take a left into the parking lot, and then take a right again to get around to the parking. So there are 4 turns in the same parking lot. There's only one way to get in, and it may trick you the first day. So the signs will lead you to the class, and we're really excited to start the program. I will open it up for questions at this time if you guys here have any questions, or if anybody on the phone or on live meeting would like to ask questions. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you're interested in knowing? Okay. Guys on the phone? All right. Well, thank you very much. There was somebody.
I was just saying that everything is pretty clear. Thanks for doing this.
Sure thing. so the comments on the phone and on both different methods are things seem to be pretty clear, so we're good to go. So I want to thank everybody for coming out today, spending some time with us on a Saturday. We're doing this in real time, but really excited to hit the ground on Monday. There are a couple of people on the phone that need to connect with you guys who are driving. So if you guys can stay around for just a little bit, we'll call him and connect the dots. All right. Again, thank you everybody for your attention and your time today. I'm going to end the call. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, great. I appreciate that, Mark.